I think everybody should keep a portable jump starter in their car because you never know when you got to get yourself or somebody else out of a jam. And when I saw the Fanttik T8 Apex jump starter, I had to get my hands on one. Let's check out the details. Portable jump starters have come a long way, from basically a car battery in a box with a handle to something that fits in a glove box. And like I mentioned, I think that everyone should have a jump starter in every vehicle, but I can't say that I've seen one quite like this one, the T8 Apex by Fanttik. When I saw my buddy Justin from Horsepower Obsessed show one on his channel, it really got my attention because it just looks so cool, and I had to see one for myself. Now let's check it out, starting with when I unboxed it. All right, so far, pretty cool. Here's the main unit. I'll get to all the details here in a second, but let's check out the accessories. USB-C cable. And then USB to USB, USB-C to USB-C. The other one was USB-A to USB-C. There we go. Like that. See what's in here. The case is really cool, by the way. These are no joke. They call these shark cables. I'll get to these in a little bit. And what's in the box here? Oh, there's an instruction manual underneath there. Tells you everything you need to know, but I'm going to cover the guts of it right here in this video. 12-volt car charger. And then a wall charger. Now there's two versions of the Fanttik T8 Apex. One is the regular version, which you get the main unit, the shark clamps, the USB-A and USB-C cables, and a storage bag. Now this here is the deluxe version, where you also get the main unit, the shark clamps, the USB cables, but instead of a storage bag, you get that pretty cool storage box, and you get that 65-watt charger. Now this is pretty important, and I'll get into why in a little bit. And then of course, oops, almost forgot it. That 12-volt car charger. So my initial impressions of this, it is a stout piece. It feels very, very solid, and it's got some heft to it. This is a pretty good sized charger. I mean, it's over 9 inches long. But the build quality is really something. This feels like you could drop it and it wouldn't even think about being damaged. So overall, the build quality is pretty good. Yeah, once you get this thing in your hands, you're like, this is a stout piece. You could use this as a weapon. I'm not kidding. So according to Fanttik, it is IP65 dustproof and waterproof, so you can use it in crappy, rainy, dirty, dusty conditions, which is usually the case when you need to use something like this. And like I said, you could drop it. It wouldn't be a big deal. I'm told it's shockproof, and I'm also told that it's even flame retardant for peace of mind, but I'm not going to put that to the test. And let's talk about the appearance of this. Now, this might not mean anything to some of you, but it's nice to know that they put some time into the looks of this thing. I think it's kind of neat how they designed this with a Shelby-inspired racing stripe. It's just a nice touch showing that they didn't just stick some batteries in a plastic box, throw some clips on it, and say, here's a basic jump starter just like all the other ones out there. And another thing I really like about it is the big 3-inch digital display. Now, most jump starters that I've used in the past, they have like little LED dots, like a series of LED dots to give you the status of it. That's helpful for sure, but I like knowing exactly how much power is left and the status of the battery that it's connected to. You can't see it here, but it gives you like a battery status when you hook it up to a battery, so you got an idea of what you're working with. And so having that knowledge is pretty important, because on something like this, knowledge is power. You can see that it was shipped to me with 81%. And I'll get into the battery life in just a little bit. So far, this thing is stout. And let's talk about the guts of this thing. Now, Fanttik is calling this the most furious jump starter. Furious? Furious! That's right. Why? Because it contains a 4-core high-quality battery cell with 2,000 amps peak current. It's got a lot of snort to it. And that means you can jumpstart engines up to 8.5-liter gasoline or 6-liter diesel. It's pretty big for something like this. And like most portable jump starters, it can be used as a power bank. That's what these outputs are for, and that's what these cables are for that's provided in both the regular and the deluxe kit. Now this has a super fast 65-watt input and output with this optional 65-watt charger that comes in the deluxe package. It all holds together with a huge 20,000 milliamp hour capacity. Now, if you're new to this, milliamp hour, or known as mAh, milli being 1/1000th of an amp. It's a measure of capacity of the battery inside. This is really important because the higher the number, the higher the capacity of this, and the more it can be used for powering things between charges. Now, because of the big old capacity of this sucker, you can fully charge a lot of things a few times over. For example, on iPhones, you can charge an iPhone 6 times, and you can do cameras or just about anything else that has USB-C or USB-A using the included cables. You can even power a laptop with this thing in a pinch. Or the main use for it, Fanttik is saying you can jumpstart a car up to 50 starts on one charge. But I'm kind of thinking that if you need to jumpstart a car 50 times or 50 cars one time, you might have bigger issues. Now, one full charge will last you 2 whole years on standby. I've got a calendar reminder to check the charge in the other jump starters I've got in my cars every couple of months. Well, I guess I don't need to worry about checking it that often on this one. All right, now we got to talk about safety. I think we can all agree that cars today have some pretty intricate electronics, and there's always these horror stories of people frying their car by doing something wrong when they're trying to jumpstart their cars. Now, I don't know how true they are, but I can tell you this, that when you pack as much power as the T8 here, you feel better about having a few guardrails so you don't potentially kill your car or yourself. Now, I don't really think you can kill a car, and certainly not kill yourself with one of these, but just for peace of mind, it does have a Smartshield chip inside with 10 safety features. And that includes short circuit protection, high temperature protection, and reverse polarity protection, so you don't got to worry about having an oh shit moment. So now that you know all about the features and the specs, how do you use this thing? Well, this is actually a no-brainer. When jumping from car to car using jumper cables, I'm always kind of surprised to hear that a lot of people don't know how to do it correctly. Well, the nice part is T8 Apex makes it pretty foolproof. Here's how you do it. Starting with step number 1, you attach the clamps. And let's talk about the clamps real quick. These things are really, really, really stout. They're not flimsy in any way. It looks like they could really clamp, they could really clamp onto the battery posts or terminals pretty solidly. In fact, they call them shark clamps because, I mean, look at them. You know, okay. Enough of that. But yeah, these are pretty decent. They're not cheap, they're not flimsy. So it's got this connector right here. Just take the cap off. And see how it's got a flat spot right there? Well, right here, where it says to put in the jumper cable, there's that flat spot. You know what to do from here. Plug it in. Step number 2, hit the power button, and it tells you if it's good to start or if it's low, and of course what the percentage is. Now, when it's connected to a battery, it's going to tell you start or low. I just obviously don't have it connected to a battery right now, but you saw what I showed you. And once you check the status on the screen to make sure it's okay to go, step number 4, start the car. And then that's it. You're good to go. You're off to the races. Now, there is something that's pretty important to know about this, and that's called manual mode. As you saw when I pressed the power button, let's show it again. It's got start or low. It tells you when to start. Well, if the battery is 100% dead, and this unit can't read any current from it whatsoever to get a status as to whether or not it's safe to start, you need to go into manual mode to try to jump start it. And you do that by pressing the power button and that light button right there. And I'll get into the light in a second. Pressing and holding those for 3 seconds. Hear that? And then when into manual mode, it's going to bypass everything, and it's just going to go straight to, it's going to bypass all of the diagnosis, and it's going to go straight to the start mode. And well, then you just start your car. But let me turn this off. Basically, in that case, you can pretty much bring a car back from the dead with this. Another important feature on this is safety lighting. Now, I myself, I could never have too many light sources at my disposal. Home, shop, desk, glove box, whatever. I've got a flashlight everywhere. And I think a lot of you understand what I'm talking about. Well, this has a built-in, let me turn it back on, 400 lumen LED light that has 3 modes: flashlight, signal light, and SOS rescue light. Now I'm told that the SOS rescue light can last for hours on a single charge. So let me turn that off too. Pretty cool. Overall, I love this thing. So there's a lot of pros to this unit that I really like, but I think it's only fair that I also talk about some of the cons that I noticed. First of all, as I mentioned, this thing is pretty big. And I think it needs to be to house all that power, but if you've got limited space, especially with the case that it comes with, if you get the deluxe package, I mean, it's a good sized case too. So it doesn't exactly fit in a glove box inside the case. If you got the regular version that has just the storage bag, that might fit a lot better than this big old storage case, right? But I mean, when you compare it to a previous jump starter that I have, and I did a review of this one about 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. This is one of the first reviews I actually did a while back, and this is an okay unit, but it's you can see it's definitely a lot smaller, but it also doesn't have near the power and features that the Fanttik T8 does. And while it's overall pretty rugged with that IP65 rating and being shockproof and all that, the cool lens over the display looks like it's going to scratch easy, and I mean, you can see I got fingerprints all over it just by demonstrating it to you guys. So I'm kind of worried, that might get scratched easy. I don't know what it's made of. Maybe I'll get a sheet of Laminex and put it over it just to protect it. And by the way, if you ever need a Laminex discount, hit the link in the description for a sweet 20% off discount, courtesy of your old buddy Jason here in the garage. I think it's time we talk about pricing on this. Now, this unit has some features and specs that's equal to or better than some of the high-quality jump starter names that have been around for a while. Now, I did some research, and the price for this guy is pretty reasonable for what you get. List price for the regular version, the version comes with the main unit, the 2 USB cables, the shark clamps, and a storage bag, is $169.97. That's list price. But on Amazon, at least right now, it's $139.97, and that's before any discounts. At the time I made this video, there's a $30 promotion going on, so you can grab this the regular version for just under 110 bucks. And that's a pretty solid deal for what this is. If you want to grab it, I got a link in the description to that Amazon listing. Now for the deluxe version that I've got here, and that's with the extra stuff like the case, the 65-watt charger, and the 12-volt car charger, it's currently available directly from Fanttik. And list price there is $199.97, which is really on par with other jump starters of this capacity and quality. But right now, Fanttik has it on special on their website for $139.97, and I've got a coupon code you can use for an additional 10 bucks off. When you go to Fantik's website, add it to your cart. T8 Apex Save 10, all one word, is the coupon code you want to use in the cart there, making it $129.97 for this deluxe package. Now, I got to tell you, I think the extra 20 bucks or so is worth it for the extras you get in the deluxe package. I mean, this exact 65-watt charger typically costs you about $40 by itself. So if you want one of these, the deluxe package is what you should get for your money. Now, I'll put a link in the description to the deluxe package so you can grab it directly from Fanttik, and don't forget that coupon code T8 Apex Save 10. Now, all my car batteries I know are in good shape, so I didn't want to run down a battery in my own vehicle to test this because I understand that running a battery to zero can damage it, or so I understand. Somebody please let me know if I'm wrong on this. But if I ever do have to use this, you can bet you I'll make a follow-up video. So if you want to see this in action, again, check out my buddy Justin's channel at Horsepower Obsessed, where he did run his Corvette battery completely dead, and then he fired it back up, no problem with this thing.
How freaking awesome is that, guys?
Now, because my Corvette has the 7-liter engine in it, And as I mentioned, this can start up to an 8.5 liter gasoline engine. That's where I'm going to keep this one in the back of that. And speaking of which, you might want to check out some of my other videos related to this, like when I showed you how to do a C6 Corvette Z06 and ZR1 battery swap, as well as to make a cheap $20 battery tender quick disconnect. Check out those videos. I'll link them below. Bottom line, this thing is pretty cool. And it's got lots of power, good features, as well as it's a known name. And according to the specs, the price is right. Now, I recommend it. And again, if you want to get one, see the links below. But anyway, let me know if you've got any questions about this unit. And I appreciate you supporting my channel and my efforts. Thanks as always for hanging out in my garage with me. And let me know what else you'd like to see me review. And I'll see you in my next video. Stay tuned.
Furious!